Hello, welcome back to my channel. So let's talk about Brittany and Rey. So 8 days out of the halfway house after being pressured by Rey, Brittany finally decides to introduce Rey to her dad and her half-sister, but she's going to be surprising them because they have no idea that Rey is out of prison. They think he's still in prison. They have no idea he's living with Brittany. So Brittany's going to surprise her dad and half-sister when they get there and put him on the spot and tell him that Rey's inside and waiting to meet him. So Brittany's super terrified that her dad might just be like, okay, I ain't meeting him, and jump in the car and dip. So it's morning time and Brittany's starting off the day with a glass of wine. And I swear, Brittany and Rey, they be drinking wine for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And then we got Rey out here, and he's about to get a t-shirt for every life event from Brittany. So Brittany and Rey, they're all laid up, and she tells Rey that her father and sister are on their way, and she's going to give him something to throw on to cover his ankle monitor, because she's afraid that if his ankle monitor is exposed, then her dad is just going to notice that the whole time and look at that. So Brittany picks out an outfit for Rey, one that Brittany feels will win her dad's approval, and she handed Rey these pants that had slits and rips in them all the way to the bottom, and I would have rather exposed the ankle monitor before I wore those pants, because those pants were just too much. I'd be looking at the pants the whole time if I was the daddy, and I bet those ripped up to nothing pants probably cost like $200 or something. So Rey says he knows how to talk and present himself the right way. And Brittany, she warned Rey that her dad doesn't play when it comes to her at all. And Rey says he feels like he's about to go in front of the judge again. So Brittany's father finally pulls up with her half-sister, and Brittany drops the bombshell on them that Rey is out of prison and he is actually inside waiting to meet them. And her dad said, right now? And Brittany said she knew there's no way she's going to be able to talk her mom into meeting Rey right now, because she was so stern on the fact she had zero interest in meeting Rey until he can bring something to the table. And Brittany asked her dad if he was willing to go inside and meet Rey, and he was down and chill about it, and he even said, surprise, surprise, I'll go meet him. So Brittany's dad walked in, Rey shook his hand and gave him a nice firm handshake, and they started asking questions back and forth. And Brittany's dad asked Rey how old he was. Rey said he was 29. Rey's the same age as me. And Brittany's dad started giving Rey advice and telling him that he's still young, he still has a lot of life left, and he has to figure out how he wants to live the rest of his life. And I think that's really wise advice. You know, each day you'll never be this young again, so you have to celebrate that and cherish time while it's here. And Brittany's dad said it's not about how many times you fall down, it's about how many times you get back up. And Rey said he was trying to get back to where he was at, and he's always had good jobs. And Brittany's half-sister said, if you always had good jobs, then what were you after so quickly that got Rey in trouble? And Rey just said he was young and being lazy, and he regrets those decisions. And Brittany's dad was asking all the right questions. He asked Rey, how has this federal offense changed you, and what are your plans for the future? And Rey said, step one, get the ankle monitor off and then go to work. And we already know Brittany's going to be standing by with a t-shirt for Rey getting his ankle monitor off, because she has a t-shirt for every life event for Rey. So Brittany's half-sister said she just can't go off the first meeting. You know, Rey could have a lot of talk, but it's all about actions. And Brittany's dad said he's protective over Brittany, because he'll be damned if he has to see Brittany get hurt and see another man put his hands on her again, because the man Brittany was with before Rey, she ended up sending him to prison after she called the cops on him because he had put his hands on her and hurt her pretty bad. So Brittany's dad's just playing it safe, and he said he'll be damned if he sees another man hurt his daughter. And then Brittany dropped the bombshell on her father and on her half-sister and said that Rey is actually living with her now. Her family handled it better than I expected, but her half-sister was like, I don't understand why you rushed to have him move in when he's not even working. You're out here working 2 jobs when he's staying at home, and I don't understand why you couldn't wait for him to get on his feet before you allowed him to move in. But you know, Rey cannot work. He's on an ankle monitor, so he's unable to work. But at the same time, I do see where the sister's coming from. And Ray says he can feel that he's being judged pretty hard by Brittany's sister, and he just wishes that she would try to get to know him more and figure out where he's coming from before she judges him so quickly. And Brittany tried to assure her family by saying, hey, I'm not in my 20s no more. I'm in my 30s. I'm trying to find my forever. I'm not playing no games this time. And I think that's a good point, because I know what I expect from a partner, and my values and morals in a relationship has changed drastically. I'm 29 and I'm about to be 30, but compared to my earlier 20s, it's a total 180. So Brittany's dad said that he's willing to give him a chance, and actions speak louder than words, but once he sees that he's following through on everything that he's saying and gets a job, he's willing to embrace him. And so Brittany said, oh, she started crying, and I ain't gonna lie, I'm an empath, and when I saw her crying, I started crying. I didn't even know what I was crying for. And Brittany's dad said he was glad he got the opportunity to meet Ray. He said right now Ray's not bringing anything to the table, but he's willing to give him a chance. And Brittany's dad said he's old school, more about like show, don't tell. And Ray said he knows where Brittany's dad's coming from, and he said that his parents even got on to him about, hey, you better treat this girl right. And Ray said his parents would clock at the house that they saw Ray not following through on his promises to Brittany and not treating her right. And Brittany's sister said, well, her half-sister said she's not really sure what Ray's intentions with Brittany is, but she's just hoping for the best between them. So Brittany's mom still has no idea that Ray is living with Brittany, or Ray's even out of prison, or that Brittany's dad and half-sister have met Ray. So Brittany asked her dad and half-sister not to tell her mom, and her dad said, I'm going to leave that up to you to tell her. So Brittany's family ends up leaving, and then fast forward, they show Brittany and Ray on their way to Ray's parole officer's office to go get his ankle monitor off. He finally got his ankle monitor off, and they were able to go out to eat and have a nice dinner, and Brittany finally was able to try to get Ray to open up about his plans for the future between Ray and Brittany, and she was trying to get a timeline on everything, like from babies to marriage. And Brittany's hoping that now that Ray has his ankle monitor off, that he can get adjusted and get a job ASAP and finally meet Brittany's mother. So Brittany starts telling Ray that her time clock is ticking. She's 33 years old. She's not getting any younger. And she doesn't want to be a 40-year-old mother. So Ray's like, so you want to have kids in the next year and then marriage in the next 2-3 years? And Brittany's eyes got so wide when she heard 2-3 years for marriage. And she said, no, I'm trying to get married like ASAP. So Brittany told Ray, I feel like my parents and your parents are going to be questioning why we're waiting so long. Because I guess Brittany's parents and Ray's parents knew they were in love with each other and they wanted to spend the rest of their lives with each other. So they didn't waste no time and got married. And Brittany asked Ray, what about getting engaged? And Ray said he was fine with that. And Brittany said she didn't want no hush ring just for him to give her an engagement ring. And then 5 years later, they're still engaged. And Ray said, so when you want to be engaged, like in a year? And Brittany said, yeah, I want to give you time to save up and get me a nice big ring, preferably one big rock. And Brittany said that she wants to be married before she has a kid, and she wants to have a kid ASAP, like she says. And she says she does understand the point of waiting. She says, when you know, you know, and her and Ray have been talking about it all this time while he was locked up. And Brittany was saying she doesn't understand why he's changing up now that he's got his ankle monitor off. She's like, keep the same energy. And Ray said he just wants to make sure he's making the right decision. He doesn't want to rush into a marriage and then end up divorced. I think that's a very good point. The only reason I would say I would understand Brittany's point to wanting to rush it is because, you know, WeTV is going to pay for that ring, that wedding dress, and that wedding if they get married during the season. But at the same time, I understand why WeTV's willing to pay for all that, because half the time it don't work out and it causes a lot more drama when people have to go through a divorce and all that crap. Because, you know, WeTV loves that drama. So Ray says he intends on getting a job ASAP so he can help Brittany with the bills, so he can pay for the dinner when they go out to eat, and so he can start paying off his restitution. He says he plans on starting his own business. I'm not sure what his business is going to be, but I'm looking forward to that. At the end of the show, they did all the updates talking about where everyone is now, and they said that Ray ended up getting finding a job. So congrats to him. I'm happy that he got a job. Hopefully he's saving up for that big old rock that Brittany wants. And they said that Brittany is still waiting on the proposal from Rey. And Cat Lady Diva posted on the Love After Lockup Reddit, and she said Brittany is too bougie to be with the ex-con. Brittany is unrealistic and expecting all these things from Rey within a year. Finding a job, period, is difficult for an ex-con, especially during the middle of a pandemic, too. It's even more difficult to find a decent one that'll provide for the whole family is even more unrealistic. Brittany acts way too bougie. She has these high expectations, so she needs to be with a man who's already at a place she wants him to be. Also, Rey wanting to be married within 3 years isn't unreasonable. Rushing into marriage and having a baby within a year is foolish, and this is a part I very much agree with. Jessica did the same-ish, and look where she's at now. A single mother to a baby whose father is an ex-con who hasn't changed his ways. And I definitely have more faith in Rey than I did with Maurice. And I feel like Rey hopefully has learned his lesson this time and hopefully will stay out of prison, stay on the straight and narrow. I think Rey's timing 2 to 3 years is super realistic, and that's probably the best way to go. I think they need to wait at least 2 years before they have a baby or get married. I know her time clock is ticking. I've been engaged a few times, and both times I got engaged, it was way too soon. I thought I was going to marry that person, spend the rest of my life with them, and then both those relationships, once we hit the 2-year mark, our relationship just fizzled out because the other person quit putting their effort and energy into the relationship because they figured, hey, I've been with her for a couple years, I have her, I got to stop trying, and that ended up being the downfall of our relationship. And then there's been people that I wasn't engaged to, and after 2 years, my feelings changed. So I think they need to at least wait a minimum of 2 years because they don't want to be like another Jessica Maurice, like Cat Lady Diva said. You know, if you want to put a ring on it and secure it, then do that. But I don't think they need to rush into getting married or having a baby yet. I'm curious, since WeTV will pay for the wedding, the dress, and the ring if they get married during the season. I'm curious if WeTV's willing to pay for the divorce, too. Like, I know Married at First Sight, since people rush into getting married to someone they've never met before, Married at First Sight producers actually pay for the divorce, the marriage counseling, and all that. So I'm curious if WeTV does that, too. But that's it for this video. I'm going to be talking about Nicole, Deontay, and Tia in a later video. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Do you think Brittany is rushing the relationship? What do you think is a good time for them to have kids and get married? Let me know in the comments below. Are you guys excited to see them in the season of Life After Lockup? And make sure you give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, and thank you guys so much for watching.